never lose your curiosity. I think it was my favorite professor, Professor Newman Ashra. He made this quote once and he said, never stop chasing your curiosity, and it's stuck. From now till I die, that's going to be one of my favorite quotes. Welcome back to my channel. This is Ursula Sebastine. Some people call me Ursula, some people call me Uju. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Couch Conversations with me. And today we're just going to be keeping it chill, keeping it casual, and just really just reminiscing on some of the things that I have learned over the years. Before I get deep into the meat of today's video, I just want to say welcome to our first timers. So if this is your first time, hugs and kisses to you, and if you're returning, hugs and kisses to you too. We're generous over here. There's enough kisses and hugs to go around. You get a kiss, you get a hug, you get a kiss, you get a hug too. Oh yeah, you can tell that I'm excited. Anyway, so today I really want to talk about going back to school as an adult. Now, I feel like not a lot of people talk about it as much, but it's actually a huge deal. Now, if you have been following me for a while and you know what I stand for, I'm a champion for growth. Anything that has to do with you increasing your knowledge base, learning something, whether it's reading a book, going back to school, you know, getting some form of education, I'm a champion for it. So if someone comes to me and say, oh, I'm thinking about going back to school, I will for sure encourage you to go back to school. It looks like not a lot of people talk about it a lot, but at least in my case, when I was looking to go back to school, I didn't get as much access to that information as I wish I could. And so this is me, your fairy godmother, just putting it out here just so you get all the information that you need. Now, it's a different ball game when you're going back to school as an adult versus, you know, undergrad and all of those pieces. One thing that I know, or rather I would share like 4 things that helped me when I was moving, because it wasn't just going back to school as an adult. I was going back to school in a whole new country that I have never lived in before. Before I moved here, I have never really lived in a different country apart from Nigeria. I visited countries, I just never lived. So going back to school as adults and going back to school in a country that I had never been to, was the dynamics of all of that was pretty tangible, and I just want to talk about it for a second. One, when I moved here, when I started school, actually when I moved, I was so curious. Like I felt all the adrenaline, all the adventurous spirit just start coming up. Like I was caged as a young girl. Like my parents did a solid job caging all of us like animals. So I really didn't go out. I really didn't get as much exposure. So when I moved here, I felt like there's nobody in this country that I have to answer to. Like I felt really free. Even when I came as an adult, right? I was in my mid to late 20s when I moved. I was like, you know what? I can do whatever the hell I want here. Of course, I'm a Jesus girl, so there's a limit to what I can do. But still, just that freedom. What that meant was I was asking a lot of questions. Sometimes the questions were offensive. And sometimes they were not, but I was willing to learn. So first point, be open to learning, because that's what you're coming to do. You're coming to school, right? I want to believe you're coming to school to learn, not to find wife or husband, to learn. So be open to learning, but also be open to unlearning and relearning things, right? Like it's so important to actually understand that sometimes you don't know everything. Like people go back to school, but they think that they're coming to school to do over sabi or I too know or show themselves off. No comment.
No comment. Next question.
But actually be open to learning and understanding that some things that you knew before, there might be a better way of doing it, right? I have a background in engineering. I have a way that I approach math. I have a way that I approach statistics. When I moved here,
Sorry for the laugh.
If I had stayed stuck to how I knew things work or how I learned, I would have failed pretty quickly, right? But I was open to like, okay, relearning things that I thought that I knew. I was open to relearning them. Things that I thought that I knew, but just didn't fit in this current climate and the current dynamic of the MBA. I was open to throwing them out the door and just learning new things. So one, be open to learning, unlearning, and relearning. Two, be comfortable with the fact that you're not the smartest in the room. I know this might be difficult to some of my I too know friends. But really, I think that posture, when you have that posture of I'm not the smartest in the room, I'm open to learning, then you actually absorb more. So be a sponge, right? Yes, there are places where you could actually be more of a subject matter expertise, especially if you're coming back to school with a sizable amount of years of experience. It's fair that you would have more information or more, you'll be educated more than the others on a particular topic. For instance, in my class, I had people who were CFAs, I had people who were finance gurus. Of course, they had more knowledge, more than I did at that time. In finance, because I'm not a finance person and they were, right? So I was open to learning, but then not being the smartest in the room, because I came from a place where I had a pretty good run, a pretty solid, fantastic run as a mechanical engineer in my undergrad. And to now come, and I was humbled. I'm not gonna lie. The first time I sat in a statistics class, I cried. Like, I was like, okay, let's get the tears out of the way and concentrate on what we're here to do, to learn, right? So I guess all that to say, be comfortable with, not being the smartest in the room, because that way you're giving yourself room to actually learn and grow. Because once you become the smartest in the room, then you really should be finding another room to go to. You shouldn't be there, because you should be in a position where you're always learning and you're always, getting new information, but also giving out information. If that makes sense. My third point is, be proud of who you are. Be proud of your culture, but don't let it interfere in communal learning. What do I mean by that? Now, we come from a culture, or I come from a culture as Nigerians, where we look out for each other, right? You know how they say it takes a village to raise a child. It's not just raising a child, it takes a village to literally sustain a person, right? And so what that means is we look out for each other. If I go to class and I know that you're my friend and I don't see you in class for a while, I'm going to ask around, like, are you okay? Because that's just how we are as Nigerians. We're very hospitable people. We look out for people. But then I had this experience where I was in class and I noticed this young lady. I hadn't seen her in class for like a couple of days, a week maybe. When I eventually saw her, I was like, oh, I hope you're okay. We didn't see you in class. How have you been? And she was put off. She was like, I don't appreciate you policing where I've been. Girl, I was just trying to make sure that you were okay, but I think the thing is, I didn't take it personally, because I understood the difference in culture. She was American, where people are used to minding your business. Sip your tea, mind your business. I'm Nigerian, we mind each other's business. We look out for each other. And so, but I didn't let it get to me, and I didn't take it personally, because I understood the dynamics. And then there are other cultures where they're used to making certain kind of jokes, or they're not as for instance, I'm in a very liberal society. There's the LGBTQ community that's huge here. For instance, you come from a culture where they're not as liberal as we are here. You're super conservative. You have a culture that doesn't permit that. You have a religion as well that doesn't permit that. And I know that I'm treading very slopey lines here, but I'm going to be very careful. But my point is, be proud of who you are. Be proud of your culture. Be proud of your your belief system, your value system, but don't let that get in the way of communal learning. Be accommodating as well of other people who have other cultures. For instance, you're coming to a place like Canada or a place like Toronto, that is one of the most diverse cities in the world. You have hundreds of different ethnicities, thousands of different ethnicities, hundreds of different cultures, and citizens of other countries that come here with their own years of culture, right? You don't expect everyone to just give room to just your own. You need to be accommodating of everyone's way of life. Now, I'm not saying that compromise on your value system, but be accommodating such that it doesn't interfere in your communal learning, such that you're not making the learning environment uncomfortable for somebody else who's from another culture. Recognize the difference in culture, recognize it, but also don't let it interfere in your learning as well as your neighbor's learning. Okay? And then my last piece is never lose your curiosity. I think it was my favorite professor, Professor Newman Ashraf. He is actually one of my professors at University of Toronto, and he took me on a few courses in Rotman. And he made this quote once, and he said, "Never stop chasing your curiosity," and it's stuck. From now till I die, that's going to be one of my favorite quotes, just because it makes sense. The more you're curious about something, the more you ask questions, and the more you ask questions, guess what? The more you learn. And so never stop chasing your curiosity, never lose that wonder. You know how the Bible says when Jesus told the disciples not to stop the kids from coming to him because the kingdom of God is made for such as these. It's really just that thinking capacity of a child. Children are always curious, they're always looking to ask questions, they're always looking to learn. So I would really encourage you to keep that adventurous spirit, stay young, be a Gen Z in your mind. Ask questions, really just have a good time. Don't stop asking questions, don't stop chasing your curiosity, just have a good time even as you go back to school as an adult. Don't feel, I know culturally once we get into the room we want to, if we're older than the folks, other people in the room, we want to carry our shoulder. For lack of a better term. The average age when I moved, when I started school was about 26, I think. But then there were lots of people in the class that were 22, 23, and I was older than that. Imagine if I wasn't down to earth and just humble enough to still learn from people who were younger, older, whatever it is, because let's face it, age is just a word. If we carry over that culture where we feel like if we're the oldest in the room, the smartest in the room, nobody can tell me nothing, nobody can talk to me anyhow, you can't speak to me, I can't learn anything from you, and so I can't ask you questions, and so I'm not curious about what you know, I'm not curious about your culture, I'm not curious about where you came from, then you'll be doing yourself a disservice. I'm not gonna lie. So I guess all this to say is, really, once you consider going back to school as an adult, make sure that as much as you're getting your money right, you're getting all your applications right, you're getting everything right, get your mind right too. And I hope these 4 tips were able to help you on the journey to getting your mind right. Okay, it's not all gloom and everything. It's actually a fun experience going back as an adult, because you're more self-aware, and I think that's the best thing that could honestly happen, going back to school as an adult. So yes, I definitely recommend 10 over 10 minus nothing. But anyway, if you've made it all the way to this video, thank you so much for watching, and I would just encourage you to subscribe. Yes, click the subscribe button. Also go ahead and follow us on the social channels on Instagram, Ursula Sebastine, and Couch Conversations, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. But until then, please don't forget to share this video, like this video, it would help us grow the channel. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye.